Yeah, I think Alexis is a little nervous to hear me talk, but I did cut it down. It's like 25 minutes, so it's gonna be good. Okay. All right. You guys settle down. Come on. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Seth Kuwik. I'm Josh's older brother, a little bit more mature than he is. First off, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out to this beautiful wedding to celebrate the marriage of Josh and Lexi. Lexi, you look absolutely beautiful today on your special day, so that's great. And Josh, you look okay. So, the bridesmaids, you guys were lovely as well, especially my wife and my sister. But come on, like how good were the groomsmen? I mean, look at Devin. Where's that man firm?
Devin.
Yeah, there he is.
Man firm, yeah. Don't worry about it. It's really good here.
I know. So, in life, most people, find true love once. And for Josh, that was 31 years ago when he met me. Growing up with a brother who's only 2 years younger, has its benefits. I always had someone, I could count on to play with. And, for Josh and I, we did a lot of things together. We played, amazing baseball catches in the backyard, football, basketball. We even played roller hockey. And then at night we would still play, usually in the living room. We'd play stuff like tackle football, jousting like American gladiators. We even played home run derby and something called Fat Boys, where we'd stuff pillows in our shirts and run at each other full speed. It was usually fun until we broke something, which happened frequently. But luckily, we were able to glue most things back together, and most of the time we didn't get caught. But for the most part, Josh and I got along very well. And when we did fight, I didn't usually worry about it because I was always bigger than him. So it didn't matter, I always won. And one of our classic fights was when Josh's favorite babysitter, this redheaded girl named Claudia, came to watch us. And things were going well that day, and I decided I was going to try to embarrass him. And earlier that day, first Josh at this time, he was about 9. He was pretty sensitive about his underwear. And earlier that day, he had gone to the store and bought a new pack of Hanes Tidy Whities, but it came with like this Michael Jordan magnet, and he was really excited about it. And so I kept telling him I was going to show Claudia, our babysitter, and he was like getting pretty upset. So eventually, when he wasn't looking, I went and talked to her and showed it to her, and he got pretty upset. He flew into a rage and was like crying, and then he punched me. And so then I started chasing after him, and right when I was about to catch him, he slammed the door. But I was going full speed, so I hit the door, and the framing of the door came off. But those were good times. But since those times, Josh has grown. First off, he's a lot bigger than me now. But he also developed a strong work ethic, and it allowed him to excel in academics and athletics. But he also became very personable, as Lexi mentioned in her vows today. But everybody seems to like him, and he's very social. He's kind of like our dad. He doesn't know a stranger. But more importantly, he's grown to be a good man, a Christian man. And I believe these are some of the qualities that Lexi found in him, and why she decided he was a good fit for her. Lexi, I'll tell you, you're a huge upgrade over Josh's first girlfriend, Amber. She was 5, and this is when we lived on Guam, and she apparently was an aspiring artist. That's an inside joke, Josh knows. And Lexi, I remember the first time you came to Buffalo. No, but you came to visit Gina and I was working all night that night, and I came home, and you and Josh were still asleep. You got up, but Josh took like an hour and a half to wake up. He kept telling me he was jet lagged. It was like 10:30. He's telling me he's jet lagged for flying an hour and a half, one time zone. But eventually he got up, and the three of us went jet skiing on the Niagara River, close to Niagara Falls. We were having a great time. And I noticed, how sweet Josh was on you at that time. He had a real twinkle in his eye. And then, he was driving the jet ski, he was trying to show off for you, and he slung you off the back. And, as I was watching you bounce across the water, I was like, oh man, he blew it. But luckily for him, he did it. So here you guys are, you had an amazing wedding, you're officially Mr. and Mrs. Kuwik. So marriage, it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of hard work. So I have no doubt that, through the good times and bad, that you guys will make it work. So I wish you guys all the best. I love you both. And now I would like to ask everyone to raise their glasses and toast Josh and Lexi.
Here she comes. Hannah, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, for those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Hannah Johnson. I'm the maid of honor.
Closer to the mic.
Oh, okay. Closer to the mic. So I never do this. I'm only doing it for you. And I wrote sort of a little something. So it all started in 1994. We're going to go through all 22 years. No, I'm just kidding. But I guess we used to hang out a lot. We did sleepovers. Our parents have been friends since they were in grade school. We made up dances to Spice Girls and we recorded them. And we need to do that, by the way. When the Spice Girls comes on, we need to do our dance. But I guess 6 years ago, you went to school and we didn't really hang out as much. And you met a lot of really cool people that I don't really know. So that's why I kind of introduced myself. I don't really know most of you guys, but by the time I moved up here, you'd been here 2 years already, and you'd made a lot of really cool friends. And I think the first time I ever visited you in Nashville I think it was the first time I ever met Josh, too. I was like 17 or 18, and he was like 40. No, I'm just kidding. No, he was like 52. But we were at his old apartment with his old roommate Brad. Had those bug eyes, he kind of looked like a fish. And we had this whole night planned out. Like, we were going to go and do all this fun stuff and eat, and we had this like hotel room, and I think we were going to go swimming and all this stuff. Like, we had this whole night, and it was going to be so fun. And then, of course, that's when Alexis locked her keys in her trunk. And we spent the entire night trying to get the keys out of her trunk. And we had to call a locksmith, and we had like crowbars, and we were trying to like pry the trunk open. And I think the locksmith didn't end up coming until like the next day. But I mean, we had a good time just hanging around the car outside, waiting for the locksmith and listening to music. And oh my gosh, Josh was so mad. And I remember after that night, Alexis said, if I ever get married, if Josh ever proposes, then you should include that in your wedding speech. So there it is. That's that. I won't even talk about the time she left her credit card at the Three Broomsticks in Harry Potter. We were all the way across the park, and we had to go back, and it was just awful. And I mean, she does this stuff all the time. I've heard the stories.
I'm well aware.
But anyway, me and Morgan and Alexis, Morgan's over there. We've been friends since 1994, 22 years. Bros since 94, that's what Morgan made up. And Alexis even swears she changed my diaper once, but like, what were you like 2? I don't, she's 2 years older than me. But I definitely remember her wanting to be a bride. When we were growing up, we played a lot of like pretend wedding games, and I'm pretty sure she wore like a pillowcase on her head as a veil, or was that Monica from Friends? It might have been. Anyway, Alexis always wanted to be married. It was always something she wanted, always something she was really excited about, and just something she always talked about. I've heard so many stories about, oh, I'm gonna have this at my wedding, I wanna do all this stuff, and well, today you got married. And today, you're Mrs. Alexis Kuwik. You're a bride, and you look like a princess. And it was a really good wedding. It was really, I hope it was really special. And you're my best friend, and I love you. That's it.
I thought this was like an elective. It was like an optional thing. Like, hey, we might call on you to say something. If you know me, you know I'm probably not nervous off. But usually when I get up in front of people, they're expecting me to do a good job. And, they're like, all right, he's practiced this. You know what I mean, right? Yeah? Karaoke, or I was 10 years old and I was reading from the Bible in church, and that's where we met. But today, I've been threatened that, like Josh said, I'm going to have the cord to the microphone. Like, I might at any point unplug you. So this is the first time I've been in front of a lot of people where people are literally expecting me to do something ridiculous. It's different, but it is an honor. As far as I'm concerned, I was beat out for Best Man by Seth, and that's just not even fair, because you can't compete with that. But I think I wrote something down just to remind me. This has been a reunion for me, coming back from Alaska and seeing a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time, so I'm going to remind myself what I was going to talk about. I know Josh a lot better than I know Alexis, but I relate to Alexis a lot better than I think I ever have to Josh, which sounds a little interesting, but I'll give you some background. When I first met Josh, we were maybe in the 8th grade. His dad got out of the Air Force, my dad got out of the Navy. We met in Ohio, we went to church together. He was already a part of this cool clique of guys that hung out, and I hadn't quite been vetted or invited in yet. And so I'm walking across the parking lot one day, getting out, trying to look cool like I've been trying all day today. And then something weird happened, so it didn't go well. But Josh said, hey, and I said, yeah. And he said, you know who Britney Spears is? I said, no. And that was our first conversation I remember having. It was about Britney Spears. I was homeschooled, so I didn't know. But that's what we talked about. They invited me into the group, and we started talking from there. And I would say from day 1, maybe day 2, ever since we started hanging out, Josh's parents have probably felt like I was a questionable to bad influence on Josh. And my parents have thought that Josh might be a bad influence on me. So it was like a very mutual thing. He introduced me to some things like music that my parents didn't like, and I introduced him to things like, well, he could probably die doing this. And so his parents weren't too thrilled about that, but over the years, we've bonded on multiple levels. I think most of the time it was Josh thought something would be hilarious if somebody would do it, and I would actually do it. That was how we bonded at a young age. It was like, it'd be great if somebody did this, and then there I was, and I was just off running and doing it. So since I've walked through the door yesterday for the rehearsal, I've been reminded of stories I've forgotten about long ago. But when it comes to getting married, when it comes to making this commitment and setting out on a once-in-a-lifetime relationship with each other, as far as I'm concerned, this is late. This should have happened already. This is already proven, because it just seems to be a theme with people's jokes and with the fun game we had last night. It's like, well, Josh is the guy that, he doesn't go with a fad. He doesn't go with this direction or that. He's going to wear the same clothes, going to do the same things, going to have the same schedule for years and years and years. You can get him a gift and know he'll love it, because he was wearing it 7 years ago. He's going to keep rocking the same thing. He's consistent. And Alexis is more like me. She's got great, golden, beautiful locks. And Josh loves that. And she's spontaneous, and she's not a realist. She's a dreamer like me. She thinks life should be more like TV or like the movies. And she's like, let's just go do that. And it could be amazing. And most of the time, it's real life, so sometimes things go a little weird. But one thing I know about Josh is he's going to be there. You can count on him every single time. But he also needs that spontaneity. He needs somebody in his life who's just going to go for it. Because he has ideas, but he knows, I need to be responsible, I need to save for this, I need to do that. But he really, deep down inside, wants somebody with him that he can enjoy those adventures with. And sometimes it's last minute, and you're that last minute, let's go for it kind of person. And so when he wants to make it home, last minute, after work, let's leave town 12:30 in the morning, get home, surprise our parents for Thanksgiving. And the heat won't turn off in the Oldsmobile, so we're just gonna roll the windows down. And unfortunately, it's 2 a.m. in Kentucky, and the snow's coming in the windows, but the heat won't turn off. And we've got this cassette tape, and we're listening to George Strait, but the cassette tape's been stuck in the cassette player for like 4 years. It won't come out. And so it sounds like George Strait is performing downstairs, and you're upstairs, and every 45 minutes, you get excited, the snow's coming in, the heat's on, George Strait comes back on again, everybody's like, well, they call me the fireman, that's my name, and that's how you know how long it's been. And then you show up the next morning, your parents are surprised, you have the most amazing stories, and you are the spontaneity. Josh sometimes just needs somebody to say, yeah, I'll go, I'll do it, let's go. And for a lot of years, I guess I was that guy, and that friend, and that person, and you are that person. And that is one of the things that he loves about you so much is he's strong, steady, consistent, just annoying. Like, to an annoying extent. Like, let's just do this. No, he's like, listen, long term, you know? But he needs that drama to just show up because we're going to go do something exciting, something ridiculous. And so I think that this is a proven system, a proven relationship, you guys. I know I'm taking a lot of heat, it seems, because these guys are going to move to Alaska this summer. People seem to be a little concerned. I don't want you guys to worry. I think these two are going to take great care of me when they come up and live in Alaska. And I think we're really going to enjoy it. And I'm happy to get to share more of that with these two. But even though I don't know you as well as I've known Josh and through the years, and sometimes we don't talk for months and months at a time, and then sometimes we'll get on the phone and you can't get us off for 5 hours. And I know at the end of the day, he's there and we can connect. And he's that person, he's that rock. And you're that spontaneous, like, this is gonna go so wrong, but the story is gonna last so long. And you guys are gonna work out so well together. I might have written something else on the next page, I don't know. There's like a scripture on there. Matthew 7 is, you will know them by their fruits. And I think that's all I was saying this whole time is, I've known him for so long, since the 8th grade, and he's always been that guy. And I'm so happy to see him have somebody like you, and you to have that person in your life. And you guys are just gonna live a long, happy, healthy life, I think, and be so good for each other. I don't think I said anything crazy. I didn't write anything down crazy. I just want to say, guys, this was amazing. Greg says that was about 5 minutes over time, but I didn't get a clock, so it's been an honor to be here. And it's your guys' turn to visit. So Josh, Alexis, me, Sarah, we'll be in Alaska. Come on up. Thanks, guys.
Guys, let's give it up for Devin's two-tone suit. He was supposed to wear charcoal gray.
You said great.
But he looks good. Thank you, Devin.
Hello, my name's Christina. I met Josh and Alexis back in 2013. I've only ever known them as a couple, and I can't imagine not having them as friends. In 2014, my friendship with Alexis grew. We became roommates and it changed my life. I will always treasure our time at 142 Saddle Tree Court. If the type of roommate that she was is any indication as the type of wife she will be, Josh is the luckiest guy. She was kind and encouraging, hilarious and supportive of my dreams. She took care of me when I was sick and loved me on some of the hardest days of my life. My heart is filled with so much joy for the newlyweds. I admire their love for God, for each other, for their families, for their friends. Their zeal for life is so inspiring. And I found the following words, and I'd like to share them with you. May you have enough happiness to keep you sweet, enough trials to keep you strong, enough sorrow to keep you human, enough hope to keep you happy, enough friends to give you comfort, enough adventure to keep you inspired, enough courage to live each day with your whole heart. So right now, I just want to say that I love you guys. Let's raise our glasses. And here's to Josh and Alexis and more mountaintop experiences.
Let's put our hands together for the toasters. I think they did a wonderful job.